Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today you're looking at one of the paving stones that are part of an extended project that Michael and I have been working on for a while now. The project began in the front of the house where I started a walkway with custom-made paving stones all the way to the backyard. And each paving stone has a hand-painted design on it that I did myself. And the design represents something that is unique and personal to me. We eventually worked our way around to the backyard, and Michael started helping me add stones, and then Trinity started helping me add stones, and now we're getting towards the end of the project where I have 4 more stones, well, 4 or 5 I guess, needed to complete the pathway to the end of the arbor. So Michael brought home some more paving stones today, and I'm going to go ahead and work on giving them a base coat and show you how I do that in just a moment. I think I'm going to do a black base coat on this one, or maybe a dark blue depending on what paints I have available, and put a sunflower on this particular stone. So I'm going to head on in to my craft shed and see what supplies I have available. Alright, I decided to go with green apple for the first stone, and we're going to go ahead and pop the lid off and give that a coat and see what it looks like. Really faint, but it's a pretty color. Alright, that's what the first coat looks like on the first stone. The other one, or the other stone, I'm going to paint a pretty marigold yellow as the base coat, and I have to go in and get that. Now, you usually have to put at least 2 to 3 coats of paint on these stones when you're making custom pavers, because the stone, of course, is very porous. So it absorbs the paint. It looks, you know, nice and bright and cheery now, but as it dries, you'll see it will fade out, and I'll definitely need to put more coats on there. That I already know, that's a given. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and spray paint the second stone, and then maybe do a little bit of gardening. Here's a look at the marigold yellow, see, that I'll be using on the second stone. Now that is a really pretty color. That's the marigold, the first coat, and gave pretty good coverage, so we'll let that dry like I said, and then do a little bit of gardening. We need to water the plants and add some Miracle Grow, and then eventually we're going to have to transplant a few of our tomatoes and veggies. We'll probably save that for the weekend though when Trinity's here, but I can at least get the watering done, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Hi guys, today is day 2 of the paving stone project. This stone that you see here has 4 coats of spray paint on it, and the yellow one has the same amount. Came out very pretty, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But right now we're going to go ahead and transfer an image onto the paving stone. Normally I draw my designs on the paving stone by hand, but today I wanted to actually use the tracing paper and coloring book because I'm kind of on a tracing paper kick. I went through the coloring books and found some floral images that I like, and I'm going to put a hodgepodge mixture of them onto the stone. I have something in my head, an idea in my head, and we'll see if it translates out onto the stone. First we're going to trace the images, then transfer them on the stone, and then outline them with a black paint or Sharpie marker. If you notice, I'm not using my drawing pencils that I got at Ollie's for these. I'm using just regular pencils because it's been my experience that this rough surface here really tears a pencil up, so I don't want to tear up my new ones. I'm just going to use these old school pencils instead for the transfer process. Now the pictures that I picked out, there were several of them. This one I really loved. I'm going to take that and transfer it to 2 different corners on the stone, and I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. Alright, I finished putting the image on the transfer paper. Now we're going to go ahead, flip it over, and put it on the stone. So I finished hand drawing the flowers onto the paving stone. I just kind of basically took the flower that was in that coloring book and then replicated it across the stone, and then took some liberties with it, added, you know, some different designs on the blossoms and leaves, and then stuck the family love in the center, because that's a phrase that we use here a lot at the house, so it has significance to us. And now my next step will be to go ahead and hand paint all of the flowers. It'll take a while because, again, the paint will absorb into the stone a little bit because it is porous. And then when I'm all finished painting, I will go ahead and add a polyurethane coat to it before we put it outside. But I just wanted to give you a heads up as to what it looks like now before I start to paint. Go ahead and start with the sap green. I'm using acrylic paints, and I got myself a new palette, so I'm going to go ahead and make my way over to the table and get started. Now I'm throwing in a little verdine green. Now we're going to add a little leaf green. See, there's my new palette. And I'm just going to go ahead and start painting a little bit of the vines and the leaves, since there's a lot of those. And we'll have to let this dry in between coats. Otherwise, like I said, I'm really bad. I'll be dragging my arm across everything and smearing it. And the thing with working on paving stones is if you make a mistake, you're pretty much screwed. I mean, it's stone. It's going to sink into it, and you're not going to be able to do much to correct the problem other than try to paint over it, which is just a pain in the butt. So I'm going to just try to be very careful and make sure I get exactly what I want out of it. That's part of why I go to the trouble of hand drawing the design on first, because I don't want to just kind of wing it as I go along. Of course, hand drawing it on with marker, you're kind of in the same boat. I use permanent marker to make sure I could see what I was doing. A lot of the times I will do a pencil sketch on the stone first before it's painted with background paint, and then go from there. But I didn't do it that way this time. And the little vein lines in the leaves, see those? I don't worry about that too much. If I can't see them once I put the leaf coat paint on, because I'll just go back over and make them again. It's mainly the blue lines are just to give me a guideline, so like I said, don't screw everything up. I won't make you watch me paint all this stuff, because I reckon that would probably be boring. I'll just shut the camera off in a few, and then turn it back on in a bit so you can see how far I've gotten in this. Alright, that's what it looks like with the first coat of green on the vines and the leaves. I'm going to have to let that dry, and then I'll go back over and do the actual flowers and lettering, and I'll also add more color to the leaves. Now, because the surface is porous, it's very hard to mix paints and whatnot like you would on a linen or a regular canvas, but it is possible. You just kind of have to do it in stages, and like I said, the first coat usually sinks in. You can see here how it's starting to sink in, and sometimes I counteract that by mixing a little water in with the acrylics and letting it soak into the stone. So we're going to wait till that dries, like I said. Oh, and you can see, you may be wondering what the heck that weird bag is. It's a dog food bag. I usually put that onto the table when I'm working with the stones, because they're rough on the bottom, and if I didn't do that, it would screw up my wooden table. So it's actually my work cloth, so to speak. It's nice and heavy and durable, and I can pick the stones up using the sides of the bag without having to touch the stones and get my fingerprints on them. So that's why you see protein, fat, 10 and 20% and all that other crap on the outskirts of the stone. That's just the dog food bag. Okay, so today's another day, and I'm going to go ahead and start filling in the colors on the flowers. I am using titanium white, crimson red, cadmium red, and magenta red. Got a little bit of water to help mix it in. And there's what the stone looks like for now. And as far as brushes, I'm using some flat angle brushes, and then this other one for more fine detail work. Alright, that's what the first coat of paint on the flowers looks like. Like I mentioned before, a lot of the times it soaks in and fades as it dries, so you have to go back over and do several coats. Plus I need to go in and do the fine details, but that's the base coat so far. Alright guys, I just wanted to show you that I put the latest stone in place. I still have to seal it with polyurethane. I'm going to wait till the second stone is done and then just seal them together. But you can see that's it. I've got a little bit more to go. Got a total of 3 more stones that Michael brought home that I got to go ahead and finish. And hopefully it will at least take us to the second to last set of poles. We might need maybe 1 or 2 more. We'll see. There you go. That's what it looks like in place.